Baba Nama Givana, 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 Baba Nama Givana. So welcome to this to the second study group, or actually third. No, second. Sorry, second. And so we'll start from more or less from beginning again, from Sutra number 1. Some of you may have seen the recording from last session, and some of you may not have seen it. So anyway, we'll go through it. So I think first let's just let's a little bit pause the recording and you know, the first question that comes to mind when you start studying the philosophy is, why am I doing this? Why am I going through all this Sanskrit? Why am I breaking my head? I mean, not this one, but like, why am I pulverizing my mind or going through all this struggle of understanding this? And I feel more and more, the deeper I go into sadhana, I feel that the reason is because it directly influences your meditation. When you understand those metaphysical concepts, the meditation simply becomes more clear. When you understand the goal, where you're going, and you understand how the mind functions, how the body functions, how it all interplays, and how the diet and, you know, our interactions with others, and how all of this influences our mind and our meditation. The meditation, the philosophy starts to come to life, and you realize that the concepts are not just passive concepts, but they're actually something that becomes very useful in the meditation. And so then the meditation becomes good, but also your understanding of the philosophy become more clear. And so there was one senior Dada that I was living with in Taiwan. His name is Dada Diiptimanananda ji, American Dada. And he told me that one of the senior, actually the first Acharya in Anandamarga, Dada Chandranath, Acharya Chandranath, he had told him to study idea and ideology. And it's one of the most difficult books in Anandamarga. And we'll sometimes in this study group a little bit take some quotes from there. And Ananda Sutram is composed at the same time, or a similar time period, just when Anandamarga was starting. And so he was explaining to this Dada that if he understood that philosophy very, very clearly, then it would make his meditation so much deeper. And so this meditation followed his advice and went deep into both meditation and philosophy. So that's my intention with the study group, is that we understand all these fundamental concepts very clearly. And I'm not going to be rushing anything. I want everyone to kind of have time to understand, and please don't be shy to ask any questions. Any questions is acceptable, as long as it's related to the topic to some extent. And the questions are very helpful, because then we can go deeper in the subject. And so the way we'll study is that we'll select some text, and then I will normally present some references from other text. And so the main text is Ananda Sutram by Shrii Shrii Anandamurti, and the side text is Conscious Universe by Devashish, and Commentary on Ananda Sutram by Dida Mitra, which is out of print but available in electronic format. And maybe some other books as I feel fit, or some presentations from me and other Dadas or Didis. Okay, so let's get started. We go again through, I want to go again through Sutra number 1. We did it last time, but it's the foundation of everything, so I want to just go one time more through it. Just 1 second. Yeah, sorry, I was a little bit struggling with some, Zoom controls. So we have chapter 1, Shiva Shatyatmakang Brahma. Let's say that together, or you can say it, you don't need to unmute yourself. So this sutra, the pronunciation is Shiva Shatyatmakang Brahma. So Shiva Shatyatmakang Brahma. And so it means Brahma is the composite of Shiva and Shakti. And so Shiva here is the consciousness, and Atmakang is composed of, and Brahma, and Shakti. So Shiva Shatyatmakang Brahma. Brahma is composite of Shiva and Shakti. And so Shiva here is consciousness, and Shakti is operative principle. And of course these terms have historical connection. Shiva was the first guru, was also a person, and Shakti was his wife. And we went through this text here last time, and so I'll just briefly revise it. So here's the allegory of the paper having two sides, and so you cannot separate them, and so similarly you cannot separate Purusha and Prakriti. And then Shrii Shrii Anandamurti goes into explaining why you cannot separate them, And the reason is because they are both the origin of everything. And so Shiva and Shakti, they are one, and they also are the substantiation of everything, or everything originates from Brahma or Shiva and Shakti, and they cannot be separated, they are one. And they are non-causal in the sense that everything in the universe is causal, but the consciousness that everything is made of is non-causal. Now, in this here language, we were talking a little bit about here that the Atman, or how things are reflected. So consciousness is the witnessing entity, and Purush and Prakriti is the operative entity. I'm going to a little bit go into the commentary on the Sutram here, to give some new context to this. Any questions so far, or okay? Okay, so we have so here Didhyana Mitra, he starts talking about Nirguna and Saguna Brahma. So we have Brahma, Supreme Consciousness, and Brahma has two aspects, Nirguna and Saguna. And so Nirguna Brahma is Brahma which has not expressed, and Saguna Brahma is Brahma which has expressed. And here is important one word, three gunas. And so we have three gunas, and they are the creative forces. And we call them Tama, Sattva, and Raja, or Sattva, Raja, Tama, rather. And so those three gunas, they express, and that expression is explained like a triangle. And that's in chapter 4. We go into more detail of that triangle. Now I'm going to a little bit show you one slide to just give some context to this. So here is my slideshow somewhere. Okay, I'm just going to share the second screen. Then I can just drag anything into the screen that I want to show you. It's easier. Okay, so okay, so we have here in this slideshow, I took this one just as an example of, sorry, I took this as an example. Are you able to see the screen? Yep.
Yes.
Okay, so this was just an example of what I was talking, that, we have certain concepts, and those concepts, they relate to our meditation. And so, for example, here we have, image of a person doing meditation. And then, so you have the unit consciousness, supreme consciousness. We are connecting those two through our spiritual practices, trying to let the Kundalini pierce through all the chakras and reach to the supreme consciousness. And so in this chapter 1, we are understanding what is this supreme consciousness, and how does it create the universe? And so this creation of the universe is called Brahma Chakra. And this is a huge topic, and we are a little bit, sorry, this Zoom is a bit tricky to use. So this slide, I'm just going to zoom in a little bit here and there. So we have here, this is an image just created by one Margi in India. So it's a lot in Hindi. A lot of it is in Hindi, but I just use it here for visual effects. So okay, so we have here the three triangles, and then we have, you see one side of the triangle is white, one is red, and one is black. And so this is representing the three gunas. So you have like sattva, raja, and tama. So the three gunas. And then here in the middle of this triangle, you see like a green dot, and so that's written there Shiva in Hindi, in Devanagari. And so basically you have the consciousness at the nucleus, and this nucleus has those three gunas, and the three gunas is Prakriti or Shakti in the sutra. So Shiva Shakti Atmakam Brahma, and so Shakti controls or creates with the help of those three gunas. And then now if we think of all of this bubble here as the Saguna Brahma or expressed universe, then what is outside the bubble, the blue part, would be Nirguna Brahma or unexpressed consciousness. So you can think of it like an ocean, and like let's say this is just this whole thing is just like a bubble in the ocean. And so then the unqualified consciousness, the consciousness which has not been influenced by those three principles, they are still there, but they just haven't influenced the consciousness. That consciousness is called Nirguna, or the gunas are not expressed there. And then the bubble or the universe is where the gunas have become expressed. And so in this sutra, it's just explaining that Brahma or consciousness, Brahma is actually composed of Shiva and Shakti. Now Brahma is everything. Brahma is this whole creation. Brahma is the consciousness, the creative force, everything. Everything is Brahma. And we'll come back to this slide many times. So I'm just going to pull it out from the window for now. And okay, I want to also a little bit show you some quotes from the book by Devashish. So we have here Shiva Shakti Atmakam Brahma, and then it says here, all our experience devolves into two distinct modes, consciousness and the dynamic manifestation of which consciousness is the quiescent witness. In short, our awareness of existence. And so that's what this is here. Shiva Shakti Atmakam Brahma. We have the consciousness or the witnesship, and the dynamic manifestation of that consciousness, which is Shakti, or the creative force.
Dada, what is the shape of Brahma?
Shape of Brahma? Brahma has no shape. The universe may have shape, but not Brahma. Brahma is
what is the shape of the universe?
According to Guru Puja, the universe is in the shape of an egg, or like a kind of oval shape. Just like in the atom is somehow round, and the earth is somehow round, and the sun is somehow round. Everything is somehow round in this and so the universe itself is also somehow of an oval shape. So that's, yeah, Shrii Shrii Anandamurti doesn't talk a whole lot about it. He just quotes the Guru Puja on that. Akanda Mandala, Anda means egg. Okay, let's just read some of this. Let's read here from paragraph 2, as Anandamurti highlights. So maybe Nilima, can you read here from this as Anandamurti highlights? It's better to have a screen. It's difficult to see this on a mobile phone, I'm sorry. I think Kalika is on a mobile.
Actually, even on the screen, to me, it's still very small, and because the background is black, it's a little bit difficult to read. Actually, I don't know for other.
Okay, I can maybe just quote this into. You can just okay, I can just grab it into the keynote, and then it'll be easier. I can make it bigger. Sorry about that. I'll take that into consideration for next time. I'll just grab all the text into the keynote and make it big so that you can more easily see it. Okay, so anyway, can you see it now?
Yes, this is a lot better.
Okay, all right. So Nilima, if you could read this. Good. You're muted.
Nilima, you're on mute.
Okay, sorry about that. It happened by itself. As Anandamurti highlights in his short commentary, consciousness is the ultimate substantiation of existence. The existence of the material universe is perceived in the mind, but without consciousness. The witnessing entity, those thought waves, would remain unsubstantiated. We are aware of our thoughts, be they perceptions of physicality or abstract rumination, and we are aware of them because we have within us the faculty of consciousness, the power of cognition, which is distinct from our thoughts, and which provides the screen, so to speak, in which they appear.
Okay, thank you. So was that understandable? This the word substantiation and unsubstantiated and all that. Is that easy to understand, or is it difficult to understand?
I haven't digested it yet, so if you have any commentary, I'll take it.
Okay, sure. So we'll go more into this when we go into Sutra number 2.8, which we're talking about this, but we might as well just understand it right away. Then Sutra 2.8 will become very easy. Let me see if I can open another. Here, I think I have this. Okay, yeah, here we have something which is useful. So here we have in the bottom, we have the motor and sensory organs. And so the motor and sensory organs, they are external to our mind. And so the motor and sensory organs, they allow the mind to interact with the world. They bring information, and they also act according to the will of the mind. And now brain and the glands and the chakras, they control the motor and sensory organs. And so like the glands, they control with the hormones, and the chakras interact with the glands. And so you have the brain, the glands, and you have the motor and sensory organs. And so if we think in terms of subject-object, then the motor and sensory organs, they are object to the mind, or chitta. And chitta, all the layers of the mind are contained in the chitta portion. And so then the external world is external to the motor and sensory organs, and they take in this impulse, and they create the world in our mind. So like I was watching Matrix on the way here from New York, and so then Morpheus, he is explaining that what we experience is not reality, but just what the brain processes as reality. And so in our normal way, like with us, or like the way we perceive the world, is that we take the information from the motor and sensory organs, and then our brain processes it, sends it over to the mind, or the chitta, and then the mind gives us the image of what's going on around us. Now in the Matrix movie, they a little bit play with that concept. So the machines, they create a virtual reality so that the person thinks that he is experiencing a real world, whereas that world is just created by the machines. And so they are actually not having any motor and sensory organ stimulus, but rather that the information is imposed on them by the machines. Now, the machines in the Matrix are just representing the creative force, or Maya. And even in that movie, they quote the Vedas, where the Vedas are explaining that everything is expression of Maya, or this illusory world, or the creation. And so now Ahang is this next up. So we have the chitta, and so the chitta is the mind. Ahang is the doership. And so without an ego or doership, you wouldn't be able to do anything. So chitta is the objective mind. Ahang is the ego which motivates the mind to do something. And most people, they identify with the doership. They identify and they think, I do this, I do that. And it's a big part of the philosophy is to surrender that doership, to think, the consciousness is doing it. No, I'm not doing it. But, we always think, aham, we always think, I am doing this. So now, chitta is the object, ahang is the subject. But we have one more part of it, which is mahad, I exist. So in the mahad, we have, the mahad is the subject to the ahang, in the sense that the doership will not function if it doesn't have any existence. So the existence is more fundamental than the doership. And then, so ahang is the object to Mahat. Mahat is the subject to Ahang. But then we have one level up, we have the Atman. And so the Atman is the witnesship of Mahat. So if you say, for example, I exist, it still presupposes that there is some I that exists. And so that I is the pure I, or the Atman. And so the Atman is the final stage. It is the substantiation of everything else. Without the Atman, all these other things, they would not exist, because Atman is pure consciousness. And so when we talk about substantiation or unsubstantiated, all these other things would not be substantiated if there was no Atman. If there was no consciousness, there would be no raw material to create the universe. So this comes back to the question of how was the universe created, and the scientist, or maybe that's all the defunct theory, I don't know, but the theories of this Big Bang and all that, but it still doesn't explain where did that matter in the Big Bang come from. Like, where did the original matter come from? Maybe it was condensed in the beginning and then it started expanding, but still that matter came from somewhere. And so this theory is explaining that the matter, that everything comes from the consciousness, and the consciousness is the witnessing entity, and it substantiates the existence of everything else. So did that somehow explain it a little bit?
It was definitely helpful. Still processing, but now starting to get it a bit.
Let's go into the next slide of this. This slide here, we'll come back to it, but it's a little bit more detailed, and again, it's very small, but anyway. So here we have all the layers of the mind, and you see it in a little bit more, in different contexts. So you have here physicality, and then you have the 5 layers of the mind: Kamaya, Manamaya, Atimanas, Vijnanamaya, and Hiramaya Kosha. We'll study those in detail separately. That will be part of the 3rd chapter. And then we have Ahang Tattva, Mahan Tattva, and Atman. So you have Chitta, Ahang, Mahat, and Atman. And then Atman is different. You have Atman, so this is the unit consciousness, and but then you also have like supreme synthetic subjective, like you have the supreme consciousness, and when you attain that, it's called moksha or nirvikalpa samadhi, if it's temporary. Okay, all right, and I'm just going to show you one. I don't know if I want to play this, but let's just play it. I don't need to play it. I can just show you how it looks. So we have here an example. So you have this stimuli coming into the eye. So this is the object, eye is the subject. Then the eye sends that information to the chitta, to the brain, and from the brain to the objective mind. Then the objective mind interacts with the Ahang and Mahat, sends that information onwards to Ahang and Mahat, and then eventually Atman is witnessing the whole thing. So you eating an ice cream is witnessed by Chitta, by your mind, objective mind, but also by your Ahang or Buddhi and Mahat, and eventually the Atman. So everything is witnessed by Ahang. And so now the Atman is also omni-telepathic. It knows everything in the universe. And so, like Shrii Shrii Anandamurti, he would demonstrate that by often pointing out some things that would happen to people or which had happened in their lives, long time ago, that nobody knew about except themselves. So it means he was, he had omniscient knowledge. He could go, take his mind to any time or place. And so everything is witnessed by Atman. Means Atman knows everything. So the Supreme Consciousness knows everything that you do at all times. And without that witnesship, you wouldn't even be here. And so it has often been, expressed like a magician. So the magician is creating the universe, and then, you have to know the magician. And so that's the meditation. Okay. Was it somehow understandable? Any questions? No? Well, it's super clear? Or super not clear?
Well, I guess, I don't know if this is a good question or fits, because we started talking
all questions are good. Yeah, thank you.
About the Atman. I remembered reading in one of the books I have where Baba talks about, what is yoga? It's the unification of the Atman and the Para-Atman. Yeah. And as I'm listening to you talk about these concepts, I'm struggling, because to me, like, I guess I'm not yet fully understanding that if all of these things are like, right, the Atman, what is the distinction between the Atman and the Para-Atman? Because it's already, the Atman already seems so far beyond my comprehension that I just want to say that it's already that. And obviously that means, but the Atman is still not something separate from Para-Atman. I don't know. Again, I don't know if it's relevant, but that's where my mind went.
No, it is definitely relevant. So Paramatman, we didn't really talk about that concept yet, but it's just like Parama means highest, and Atman means soul. And so the highest soul. The relationship between Atman and Paramatman is that Atman is witnessing your entity, everything that you are doing, and Paramatma is witnessing the whole universe. So one is witnessing just one individual, and the other one is witnessing everything in the universe. And so if you're individual, like let's say you do meditation, and you withdraw your mind from the senses, you withdraw your mind from your objective mind, you withdraw from the ego, you withdraw from your existence, you withdraw the mind completely into the Atman. And so then now you have no mind anymore. And then what happens? Then Atman has no function anymore, and it just merges with Paramatman. And so that's the goal of yoga, is to merge with the Paramatman, to just completely withdraw everything into the Atman, and then boom, you're gone. And it can be either temporarily or permanently. Temporarily is called samadhi, nirvikalpa samadhi, and permanently is called moksha. Okay, Kali, you have a question.
Thank you.
Kali.
My question is a little bit more practical or related to everyday life.
That's good.
And so if it strays from the philosophical
that's okay. That's
conversation, you can guide us back. Something I have been wondering for a while now, as I continue to deepen in meditation, is how much do I engage with society? And if sometimes on my higher day, I feel like a spark of the infinite, and I feel like I have a big cosmic perspective. And then there's the everyday choices to make that lead me to wonder, well, I'm kind of trying to just withdraw the senses and merge back into consciousness. So there have been times where I've felt passive or even indifferent to some of the struggle around me. In this manifest reality, there's so many needs, and sometimes I get lost in, do I operate as a member of society and a neighbor and a sister and a daughter and a friend. Or what's feeling more like home, but kind of socially awkward is kind of feeling like the ocean. And rather than move and make waves, I enjoy the stillness and the solitude, but I then feel distant and unhelpful in the world around me. So I'd love your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's a delicate balance. We need both, and so that's why Shrii Shrii Anandamurti recommended to meditate at least twice a day. And of course, the monks and nuns, we have to do 4 times a day. And so the meditation is the time where you can withdraw, and you don't need to engage with the world. You don't need to think about the world. Rather, you should not think about the world. You try to disengage from the world. And then you have again that when you finish your meditation, then you start to engage with the world. And then when you do engage with the world, you also have to apply the second lesson, or ideation. And so the ideation helps you to bridge, like let's say your day is here. I mean, like let's say there's a day like a sun, the sun comes up and the sun goes down. So you wake up here and you do your meditation, and then when the sun sets, you do another meditation. But from here to here, you need to bridge that gap. And so now, if you, during the day, if you also apply second lesson or spiritual ideation, or, some people have the opportunity to listen to kirtan is also helpful, or some spiritual music, but it depends on the work. But, either repeating first lesson, like along with the breath, is very helpful, or applying second lesson, or just spiritual ideation, for those who don't have the second or first lesson. So that helps to bridge, the time from one meditation to another, so that while you are in your activities, you can still feel the Supreme Consciousness in everything. And so that's kind of the goal, is to go through your life, and you don't need to have that duality of like, should I engage or not engage? Yeah, just engage, but same time you try to feel the ideation. And now for that to happen, the meditation needs to be quite strong. It needs to be quite good. So it's good to try to meditate very nicely, then it's much more easier.
Can I ask a second question, unless somebody else has? I attempt to do what you just described. I noticed though that in believing or becoming Brahma, or recognizing that the consciousness in me is infinite consciousness, supreme consciousness, I found myself feeling less and less emotional about what's happening in the world, and I just kind of feel indifferent, and it almost feels as if nothing really matters because we're all this cosmic dream. And I found something feels wrong about that. I'm finding myself, I don't know how, if what I'm asking here, but is that how it's supposed to be? We kind of feel less, things just don't seem to matter, because in the end, it all is one dream.
That's a very difficult question. I don't think there's any one answer to that.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely felt that myself also sometimes.
Well, Dada, let me try.
Okay.
So I've been meditating for a little bit more, and when I at one point a few years ago, I was meditating, and it was very blissful. It was actually in the middle of the night, and I was surprised because I was asking Baba please provide guidance to me. Please tell me what I should do. The answer that came back is very, very strange. It said, do not forget the material world. So
Do not.
Do
do
not
not
forget.
forget the material world.
Mhm.
So it's very strange to me because in meditation, I was doing Gurskash. So in meditation, you usually try to ignore or forget the material world. But this time, this particular meditation, Baba was telling me, do not forget the material world. Everybody's operating for your benefit. Do not ignore them.
Yeah, and
So
I mean that's what he also did by his practical example. It means
yeah,
when he was alive, he was a great taskmaster. So he would not allow the Dadas and Didis to just meditate or go to him. I mean, like just to only meditate or go. Well, sometimes he would allow that, but in most cases, he would like drive them to do service project and to if there were some calamities, he would like have meetings and like, what are you doing, like, are you doing some service there, are you helping the people, are you really making some contribution. So he was like a great taskmaster when it came to the organization. He really wanted us to do service.
yeah. So he said, don't
so
be Himalayan yogi.
yeah.
Never be Himalayan yogi. Yeah. So that's
And
why
he
he's
also
saying.
like many times like the way he would define spiritual progress is that he would say that a real spiritual progress is when you feel empathy with everyone around you. So like you feel that like when someone is suffering around you, you're not just perceiving it as an illusory maya, but rather you feel the pain in your heart as well. And he would also be like that. Like, for example, there was one instance where he would there was a flower in his garden and the flower was being eaten by a bug, and he was just like, he was totally restless, like, you have to find the flower, take that bug away. I mean, like he was connected to everything around him, and he was feeling the pain. Even there's another beautiful story of a flower where he was walking in his garden and stopped in front of a flower and read a poem. And so maybe you heard that story before. So the flower had been a poet in past life, and so he was feeling the minds of everything, feeling the pains and pleasure, and was very compassionate and trying to help everyone. So I would say if we take his example as the ideal example, then we should not forget the world and be compassionate.
Thank you, Krishna, too. That's good. Good to keep in mind.
But at the same time, I would say that, like, when we are meditating, sometimes we kind of lose our mind into dialectics or into, like arguments back and forth, and it has two sides to it. In a way, at least when we meditate, we have to be able to, keep our mind a little bit away from the world. I mean, if you become like over engrossed into something what is going on in the world, even when you meditate, you will not be able to withdraw from it. So during the meditation, you definitely need to withdraw. During the life, you need to be compassionate and try to help.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you're welcome. Do you want to say anything? Any question or answer?
No, everything is explained very well. Maybe when Kalika was asking about when we are meditating and how interact with the real world, we just remember the pratik. The pratik have two triangles. One is facing down, that the symbol of self-realization or meditation, where we are trying to withdraw the mind from all surrounding. And then the other one is facing up, that is the symbol of action, or the service. Means that we still have to do both balance, because if we balance the service and the meditation, then only we will have the progress in the spiritual journey. Because if like only meditation, no service or no engagement in the with our surrounding, it will not give the progress of the meditation. Also following Jama and Niyama, if we don't follow Jama and Niyama, somehow the meditation is also become very difficult. So it needs to be balanced. Like we know that our goal is to be one with the Supreme Consciousness, the subjective approachment through objective adjustment means that somehow we still in this physical world, so we still need to engage with the mundane world. Yeah, still have to be bringing our rational mind. Sometimes, many people also maybe they meditate and they got in samadhi, and even sometimes, oh, I don't want to go back into the real world, but somehow we have to well, we're still alive. We are the social being. We need to have interaction with all the beings around us, human beings, plants, and animal. Yeah.
Yeah, just one thing I want to add to that. Like myself, last 2-3 years, I've been sometimes having periods where I'm like, my meditation is very blissful, like very, very blissful. And like 2 weeks ago, I was here in Los Altos, and my mind was like, every day I was having this really, really blissful meditation. And sometimes once a day, sometimes even 3 times a day I would have, or 4 times a day I would have really, really blissful meditation. And I was thinking, like, what is different, like, why is every day blissful now and last week was not blissful? I was just kind of thinking. And I realized that I was very inspired with my work. Like, I was very inspired with what I was doing. In the office or the computer, like I had many, many projects that I was working on, but at the same time I was also working physically here, with installing some windows and stuff with our handyman. And so I was like really engaging myself fully, and same time, finding plenty of time for meditation. And so sometimes it's like a flow. You get into a nice flow, and then just everything is working out, both the meditation and the practical work.
Can I say something real quick?
Sure.
I don't have anything extraordinary to add. I think we've covered everything, but I just wanted to share my experience for Kali, for your questions. I think initially when I was trying to understand the whole process of withdrawal, it felt good in a way that I could pick and choose, sort of, but then I also felt guilty that I'm cutting off some things from my life or people from my life, or and it was confusing also, like, what exactly are we supposed to, like, especially when it came to materialistic world or ambitions. It felt very confusing. Are we not to have ambition? All these things puzzled me a lot. I'm sure everybody has to go through that phase. But then I did understand that, a little bit as I understood more deeply and understood this concept of seva, service, I kind of felt, okay, where my attention is needed, whether it's for people or things, then I could get involved in it a little bit more, and without getting distracted and with my thoughts getting corrupted, I guess. And where it's really not needed, then I could withdraw without feeling any guilt, and that sort of helped me kind of navigate through the process of how to pick and choose. and the kirtan and the good music, listening to any sort of good music, spiritual music, peaceful music through the day also helps me a lot. It kind of keeps me calmer and also like do whatever I'm doing better, whether it's work or whether it's meditation, or like the days I spend a lot of time on like Insta and social media, sometimes I feel like it's intruding into my meditation too. So, I think what we do in the day also affects these meditation processes. But the more meditation I have done, another thing I realized was that ambition is not such a bad thing. Like, I kind of like in my own logical way, because we do have to live in this world and we do have to survive in this world, which means certain materialistic aspects have to be fulfilled, which requires us to be successful. And the more I meditated, the more calmer I became, and the more I was able to pick and choose without guilt. I became better at focusing on my ambition, like whatever I wanted to do, I could do even better. And I didn't feel any guilt about that. I felt like if I didn't succeed in certain things, then how can I do other things? Like simple breakdown, I sometimes think, oh universe, please give me more money, and then I'll tell my prayer, like it's not really a prayer, but it's just a thought, like it's I'm not praying for money, but I'm thinking, oh okay, I need some money, because if I don't have any money, how can I help anybody? Like even if I have to make a small donation or like small help, or whatever I have to do, I can't do any of that if I didn't have any money, right? Then I felt, okay, well, it's not a bad thing. If I have ambition and if I'm going after it, it's not a bad thing, as long as it's ethical. Like I don't want to do bad things and wrong things for my ambition. So I don't know if I'm making sense, but when I'm putting all this together in the broader picture, I feel like meditation helps me achieve more and better without feeling any guilt. And when I do help other people, I feel even better satisfied. And I also now understand that I don't have to help everybody, because I'm in my 50s now, and for the for the longest time, like I felt like I had to help everybody. Like I just like allowed people to abuse me in so many ways, just because I felt I had to help everybody, and if I didn't help, then I'm a bad person. But somehow through this learning and through this education and meditation, I feel, okay, I don't really have to help everybody. I only have to help the ones who need help. Okay, I took a lot of time, but thank you for listening, and
no, thank you. No, that's very nice.
Thank you very much, Padme.
That's also something that Shrii Shrii Anandamurti actually mentioned in his writing, is that you have to help those that need the help. And so he gives the example, like if someone has all the wealth they need, and you are poor, but you give to him, and it's like it doesn't make any sense, because he already has it. So we have to help those that need the help. And some people, if we are not careful, they will take advantage of us, of our simplicity or our generosity. So, okay, I think it was very nice. I'm just gonna stop the recording.